Welcome to Let Me Know How It Is, a pop culture podcast about animation, TV, movies, comics, and more. We're going back to Gotham City to react and give our thoughts on the upcoming DC Comics Amazon Prime animated series Batman Caped Crusader. I'm Clifton.
I'm Frank Melman.
And I'm Zach Slater.
All right, they just recently dropped the trailer for the long-awaited Batman Caped Crusader, coming next month to Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
So it's our first look at the show.
Mm-hmm.
What's your reaction on first glance? What's your snap judgment on this trailer?
Who doesn't love the 40s?
True. Zoot suits, love it all.
Yes.
Yep.
Tommy guns, so those are always good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know,
Those are great.
not that we didn't get them in Batman the Animated Series, but still.
We'll get there.
Yeah. Well,
We'll
I mean, my first impression was it looks good. I'm down with what the choices they made, and I'm good with the art style. It looks great. But basically, yeah, it's to me, it's the idea that, you know, when we've talked in the past about Batman the Animated Series, and it's Eric Radomski and Bruce Timm are realizing they want to make a Batman show that is essentially Batman the Fleischer cartoons.
Right.
Yeah. Like if you're not familiar with the idea that the Superman Fleischer cartoons came out, and basically they had the same style, similar look, which is not a bad thing. But they also realized, you know, they didn't necessarily want to do that, so they sort of veered away and made it not quite so Fleischer cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is a realization of what they exactly wanted to do way back when.
Okay.
Which I'm all for. I'm on board. I can't wait for it. So, Zach, what about you? What did you feel?
Well, this is our first episode back in quite a while. So for those who don't remember, I really like Batman.
Right.
Yeah.
I really like cartoons. I really like Bruce Timm.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like film noir.
Right.
So this is right up my alley. This is like made for me. I'm pretty sure. No, I think it looks really, really cool. The 1940s thing, I keep waiting for like a judge's ruling on it. You know what I mean? Because I keep seeing like 1940 set.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm a little curious if it is going to be like Batman the Animated Series, where it's like a quasi 40s, you know?
Right.
But kind of nebulous and with different tech.
Yeah.
I don't think it is. I really don't think it is.
I don't think it is too, but I'm reserving judgment because I don't know.
No, I don't know. You're right. I've no, it's one of those, the more and more I get into this stuff, the more and more I'm like, lately especially, I don't really need to see 8,000 trailers or read too much of it. I don't want to do that anymore. That's where I'm at. Since we're now coming back and talking about ourselves, that's how I felt about it. Was like, I don't know if it is or not, but I don't really need to know until the show's out.
Yeah. And
who knows? They may find out that they need to lean a little further away for it in order to get some of the stuff to be, I mean, obviously there didn't seem to be any cell phones or, any of that kind of stuff. So, I mean, that's not
my thing. I mean, the stricter they stick to 40 stuff, the better for me. I think like that's the thing that got me kind of going about it. I'm like, that's what really sets it apart a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So the question you're saying though is this actually set in the 1940s of Earth, or is this a nebulous 1940s-esque type fictional setting?
Exactly. Right. Is World War II in the very, very recent past?
Right.
In this. Right. Or gearing up for it.
Right.
Right.
Right. Well, I'm going to backtrack on everything I just said about myself about not reading anything, because I read something and went, oh, which I don't know if you all know, and I'm not going to say it just because, but it did set, it's more along it's not so much when it's set in the year or whether it's what year it's set, as a more of like when in his career it's set.
Okay.
Yeah. Which I thought was interesting. That gave me a moment of, okay. But again, it's one of those things where I know both of you are a little more strict on not having things known ahead of time. So, but it was to me, it was one of those. It was an interesting phrasing of where we're supposed to be in Batman's timeline, not necessarily in like the actual like DCU or actual like the quasi reality of where they are. Right. But yeah, I think I'm good either way. But I think more likely it's going to be we're in the 40s, right? He's been around for a short amount of time, And nobody really I mean, that's the thing from the trailer. Nobody really knows what to make of him.
Yeah, exactly. I dig the time frame where it's set in as far as like in his career. I think that's really, really cool. I don't know, that it's definitely a I'm talking on purpose a little vague about it in case Clifton doesn't want to know. But
right.
It is a time frame when I think a lot of people like to set Batman now. I think it is especially a fun time in his career to do that, to explore things. So I'm in for that. I think there's a lot of cool things about it. But we didn't hear what Clifton had to say, so I want to hear what Clifton thinks.
Right. Yeah, I mean, just watching only the trailer, I remember hearing a little bit of the announcements along the way. Like the first announcement being that it was going to be like 40s, but also like a modern, like with modern aesthetics into the 40s, as far as like diversity, as far as the types of people you would see as characters, are different than the media you would see in the 40s. So that they were changing that up. I remember them saying, things you can just discern from it. You can tell like it's early in the Batman career because he's by himself, and a lot of people are the vibe of like, is there really a Batman kind of vibe sort of to the trailer, like you get in some stuff along the way.
I just think of Alexander Knox from Batman 89. I hear he drinks blood. I hear that he has wigs, all that stuff. That's where I think we are in it. That whole thing of like, well, is this a case of someone's had too many and they're seeing, giant bats and pink elephants, that whole thing, as opposed to like, oh no, there's a signal on the top of the Gotham City police building. And we can call him when we need him. So,
I mean, one of my first reactions is stylistically, though, it is really cool to see. It's kind of the Batman animated series style, but it is a more modern take. I mean, I guess it's just like an updated kind of JLU, that whole aesthetic that they always have done, but it looks nice. I mean, it still holds up, and they polish it off where they need to, give it more modern bells and whistles.
That was my thought too. 100% that it was like they're taking the Justice League Unlimited style, and trying to do Batman the Animated Series with it.
Well, he's got the much like he had in JLU, or Justice League. He's got the longer ears, right? That's the one thing for sure. Aesthetically, that's a little different.
And the short gloves too, which aren't purple, which is a good design move, I think, to not make them purple. But they took the scallops off of the gloves and stuff, which was like, I mean, if you look at his first appearance in Detective 27, from 39, like that's what he had, right? I think the design is really, really great. I think, he's always drawn a hell of a Batman.
Right. Oh, sure.
Yeah.
But that was something that I noticed, was just like it's sort of a mix between, especially like color palette, the mix between Justice League or Justice League Unlimited and the Detective 27 look.
But I think it's, so all the stuff about, well, the first thing I should say is I think when this was announced initially and we didn't get anything for it and we just heard, right, because we heard like people were attached to it. We knew it was Bruce Timm, we knew it was J.J. Abrams, we knew it was Matt Reeves. Right. And I think there was a little bit of an expectation at that point when it was announced in 2021 that it was going to be connected to the Pattinson stuff.
Right.
And I'm very relieved that it's not. Nothing against that stuff. I just think that, I mean, typically when you get, I think about this with like My Adventures with Superman right now, right? Where like My Adventures with Superman has a comic book going on along with the series. And I just think like those things move so much faster than the cartoon does, right?
Sure.
And the cartoon, the cartoons like move so much faster than movie production. I just feel like in those instances, you get one piece of media covering so much ground,
right?
And getting the stuff before I don't want to say the preferred medium, but like the thing that like everybody came to know that thing in.
Well, basically the tentpole for it, right? Yeah. Is the animated series. So you're not going to get, it's not, as you and I have read plenty of times, or I've said, you have to read this because it's really cool. It's Batman the Animated Series, but it's, it's outside of the actual stuff. It's done in a way that, like you said, is just going to be someone telling a story that or that it hasn't been told yet, or it's one of those things where they're going to hamstring someone and not really let them tell the story they want to because, hey, we might get to that in a season 2.
Exactly. That's what I mean. It's like, well, all right, you don't do anything with Scarecrow,
mm-hmm. Right?
Because we want to reserve Scarecrow just in case,
right?
Right.
And
then that's where I'm just relieved that it's like it's not related to the patents and stuff at all.
Yeah,
like what was the assumption 3 years ago, for a little bit anyway.
Right, which I mean is hard when you hear Matt Reeves is attached, who has the Pattinson Batman movie director, but not really attached to much else Batman other than that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it is a natural, place to jump to think that,
sure.
Oh yeah, this is Matt Reeves is the Batman, the animated series.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And then the other attachment, which I will just throw in, J.J. Abrams also. I don't even know where that comes from. Like that is.
No,
he and Matt Reeves are friends.
We know he's producing it. I just don't know where the connection.
Is that what it is?
He and Matt Reeves are really good friends.
Okay, so they're like somewhat production partners.
That makes sense. That makes more sense.
Okay,
and I wonder about. We might need to look this up. On the fly, I thought J.J. Abrams had kind of like a first look thing with Warner for a minute.
Oh, okay.
Sounds or something. Familiar. I don't know if he had some kind of deal with them. I mean, it's possible that all gets rolled in, but I do know that he and Matt Reeves go like way back, like just starting their careers together.
Okay,
they knew each other. So, but then in the other thing, so then as we came to know, because we had just like that one poster shot for the longest time that Bruce Timm had done for Batman Cape Crusader, and then so like the stuff that kind of came out around that was. Oh, it's like Bruce Timm doing like Batman the Animated Series, like as he actually wanted to do it, which is what they're saying, Eric. So like you didn't have to dance around like a lot of the censor stuff and everything. That show
famously
actually did brilliantly. I think I think that's one of the things that really makes that show stand out is that it pushed, while being in compliance, it pushed it.
Yeah.
So, but I am curious about but I do hear that though, and I also think about like, well, how did his opinions change over 30 years of what the character is and stuff like that. The thing that this made me think of too was also the DC Nation short that he did.
Like the Monster Man, is that what that one was?
Yeah, it was called Batman Strange Days. It's like a 3-minute short that they did for DC Nation on Cartoon Network, and it's like really like sepia tone, and it's made to look like a 1930s, 1940s like Warner Brothers movie.
Yeah, that one's really trying to be like like the Fleischers doing Batman, but in black and white, like as a monster, as a classic monster movie.
Because that was one of my questions. Was like, I mean, we haven't got there yet, but just the idea of what you think we might get. That was one of the ones I thought, are we going to get some version of that? Just when we're talking about story stuff, but we'll get that in a minute.
It's making me go. It's making me wonder if it's in canon.
Okay,
with this. I don't know. I haven't read that or anything like that. Right. I'm just going around about it because also when that dropped, that was another thing that Bruce Timm was also saying. This is kind of my version of Batman the Animated Series as I wanted to do it. Right. The Batman design is like I just watched it. It's virtually identical.
Okay.
Right. The only difference is Kevin Conroy did the voice of Batman in that one, and he is obviously not voicing him in this one. He is unfortunately dearly departed, but it does make me Clifton, do you want to know when it's set?
Sure.
Okay.
Because I can guess pretty well.
So the thing that Bruce Timm had done an interview with like Entertainment Weekly, and in there he was saying that a lot of people talk like year one it's set like early in Batman's career, but this is really set like week 2.
Right.
Oh, okay. So that early.
Right. Yeah. That was what I was trying to dance around earlier. Was the idea of like, no, it's that early. It's week 2. He's done. He's barely done anything yet. And
so the reason I say I wonder if that's canon is it makes me go, is that Strange Days short week 1?
Right. No, because I mean that. Well, that was the thing was like we didn't see, we don't really see any of like the. I mean, it's an older story. Obviously, it's from the Golden Age, but the one I always think of is the what's his name? who did the miniseries that was like a retelling of it.
Of Monster Men?
Yeah.
Matt Wagner.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Matt Wagner did a Monster Men retelling a while back. Good story, well told. It's Matt Wagner. But it was one of the things where I thought that was one of the first thing I thought, well, are they going to do that, as a, or are we going to get like Chemical Syndicate? Is that part of, like that's like are we going all the way back for the beginning or not? I don't really know. Especially when I heard the whole thing about week 2, I'm like, well, there's only a handful of stories that are not, haven't been told and retold at this point. And like Monster Men's one, and the other one is, like I said, the Chemical Syndicate, which I've read the original and then they did an anniversary issue that showed, like, I think it was like a couple different retellings of it. Yeah. But did you have that same thought too, Zach, of what could possibly be stuff that was unmined from Golden Age?
It did, yeah. I mean, when you see some of the villains that pop up in the trailer, I'm not saying that this is what they're holding to like who existed in the 40s as being usable, because I mean Harley's in it, so immediately they're not sticking to like we're only going to use 40s stuff, right? But it did hit me where like you look at the Catwoman visual, and the Catwoman visual is not how she looked in her first appearance, but it's how she looked really early.
Yeah, it's not the Papa Spank Catwoman.
Right.
When she's the cat, when she's just the cat burglar at that point. No, she's clearly that, but that's...
Yeah, but it's the purple skirt one that Frank, I know you love. I know that's one of your favorite designs.
It's one of my favorite designs for sure. When I saw that, I'm like, perfect. But
it's also the one that they used in Brave and the Bold. Which worth pointing out too, because the one name that tends to get left off of this a lot is James Tucker is also on here as co-executive producer.
Yeah.
So
and James Tucker knows his stuff. So
yeah, James Tucker knows his onions as always.
Yeah.
So
that's a name that when I see that guy's name attached to this, especially after Brave and the Bold, I'm like, can't wait for anything Batman related to this too, because we got a lot of deep dive stuff. That's why I was thinking more about it too. Was that we got a ton of deep dive stuff that I never thought we would get animated, much less told out of the comics in Brave and the Bold.
Yeah, exactly. And so the villain thing I'll get back to, but the other thing too that really quick, the side note about James Tucker that really makes me excited about him being a part of this project specifically is where it's set. If it's set in the 1940s and it's going to flex like very, very heavy film noir stuff, that guy's a film noir nut.
Okay.
Like when he was on Twitter and like I would see him talk about like what TCM was showing at Noir Alley that night all the time. You know what I mean? And
well, yes, I don't think you mentioned it on the podcast, but you definitely told us that James Tucker, like you could have a nice conversation with James Tucker about noir.
I would love to talk about James. I would love to talk about noir with James Tucker.
Right.
Love it. Love it. I think I could be misremembering. I think he and I actually had an interaction on Twitter.
Oh wow!
About a movie.
Okay.
Where we were talking. Movie I watched today, actually. Double Indemnity was on TCM today when we were recording. One of my favorites. But yeah, no, I mean, so that's the thing that gets me is I'm like, because he came on, like he's worked with Tim for a long, long time, but he came on Superman, so he was not on board.
Right.
For the like that entire stretch of those original Batman the Animated Series, pieces. I believe he was first brought on as a designer for Superman.
Sounds right. It sounds right.
I think that's what's said on one of those DVD special features. So anyway, we love James Tucker here.
Yeah,
so on the side note, it's just cool that we're getting a Batman cartoon done by like the two guys that I think did the best two Batman cartoons.
Right. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, we love Brave and the Bold. We gush about it all the time. But yeah, so I mean, but about the 40s bad guys, I mean, but you look at Clayface, and Clayface is the Basil Carlo inspired version, so it's not the Matt Hagen like mud monster that for at least from the handful of shots that we saw.
Or is it?
Right.
Or is it?
Or is it? Right? Is it?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to, because I got that vibe too of like, well, that's clearly a dude in a mask, which that's Basil Carlo. But then I had the moment like where he throws the punch and it's like goes to the guy's face. I'm like, well, that's Matt Hagen. So are we getting the progression that early of one's here and then one? Because there's also the scene where he's Batman's having having a sword fight with someone,
Yeah.
And my thought was, I'm starting to put stitch stuff together. I'm like, well, is that Basil Karlo like on the lot for like almost like Adventures of Robin Hood
Yeah.
type,
Mhm.
you know, that kind of thing. Because it's what it looks like.
It looks like the Adventures of Robin Hood set.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. It definitely looks like that's what they're doing. So I was kind of like, well, that's interesting because that would fit together. But then, like I said, the punch in the face and the absorbing the face, I was like, well, maybe, because again, who knows, what's fair game and what they're going to do. But I definitely was like, does Basil Karlo have the special the clay that Matt Hagen gets? And
Yeah, exactly. Where's it going to go? Right, because there's a guy that eats a punch that's got a
right.
He's got a fist print in his face.
Yeah.
And but he's definitely like the House of Wax design, right?
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and when you brought up the sword fight thing, man, I wasn't prepared to talk about this. That bit gave me three things that made me think of, that I thought of when I saw that. One was Adventures of Robin Hood, right? Because the set is virtually identical.
It is almost the same, yeah.
By extension, it also made me it brought back like Rocketeer feels to me of like playing with that, right? With like Sinclair.
Yeah, Neville Sinclair.
And the other thing that it made me go, and this is a weird one, but it reminded me of Symbiotic Titan, because you don't get a lot of awesome sword fights in American animation. There's like Samurai Jack, really. I'm throwing anime out for a moment here. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure there's a zillion in anime, but
there's tons of samurai anime.
Yeah, tons of samurai anime and everything. But Sword in the Stranger is a really good one, though. I do like the sword fights in that one. Tommy turned me on to that one. Anyway, but Symbiotic Titan has like a really, really great like swashbuckling sword fight in the Escape from Galaluna episode, Clifton, if you remember that one, the one that actually takes place on their home planet before they leave. And so that's one of the things that got me the most excited in that trailer. Is I'm like, oh, are we gonna get like a balls to the wall sword fight?
That was the thing, was I thought was what it took, where it put me was, are we getting Cavalier?
Ooh, good pull.
Right? Are we getting the Cavalier? Because again, that would fit in too, but there's an awful lot of like actor or actor adjacents, and I'm like, and then I didn't think about the Sinclair or the Rocketeer stuff. I always forget about that, but you're right, that does too. But no, my first thought was, it would be cool, again, of characters we just don't get and have not got, as far as I know, in animation, that are part of the Rogues Gallery for Batman. Cavalier's one that, whether it's the Tim Sale, who wrote that one? Do you remember? The Legend of the Dark Knight?
Robinson wrote Blades. Yeah, it's great.
Blades is awesome. Like if they adapt Blades, then that's terrific too. But my mind went to like, more likely it's Basil Karlo. But if it's not, if it's Cavalier, then I'm good.
Real quick, what's the Cavalier's deal?
He's basically, what was it in Blades? Zach, do you remember?
He was a hero. He was like another vigilante, but had like a swashbuckler shtick.
Right.
He was like Scaramucci, or Scaramouche. Sorry, Scaramucci was the bad guy in Samurai Jack. That was his thing.
Right. That's
and
right.
He and Batman would find themselves like kind of on the same case.
Right.
A lot of times.
But wasn't he also robbing too? Like, wasn't he stealing too? That was part of like, it comes out that he was like a thief as well.
That's the part that's a little fuzzy for me. I haven't read in a long time. I know that there's a serial killer involved in the book too, that they're tracking down, named Mr. Lime. I remember that, but yeah, Blades. You brought up two Batman stories that I think are really, really great, and are like two Batman stories that have yet to really be adapted anywhere.
What's what I'm saying? That's
Blades and Monster Men. And by extension, Mad Monk, also done by Matt Wagner.
That could be great too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was. But that was the thing I was thinking with that, was it could be the Cavalier, which would be cool.
Now the thing I'll say this, I'm not sure if either of you have seen it. The week before this trailer went out, they put out like a voice actor trailer where they revealed the voice of who's going to be Batman. Okay. And so it's like a minute trailer of him like reading off like all the cast member names,
right,
stuff like that. But at the end of that video, they list like the 8 bad guys that are going to be in the show, in this season.
Okay.
So I mean, I can list them off if you want. I don't think it's a complete list,
Right.
because certainly somebody's in the trailer that isn't on this list.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, do we have any inkling if it's one and dones, or is there going to be a continuity to it?
I thought that it's going to be both.
Okay.
That's what I heard. A little bit of both. That kind of like one and done's, but there's going to be an arc.
Okay.
To it all.
Gotcha. Okay.
Clifton, do you want to hear the bad guys at the end of that?
Yeah.
At the end of that video? Well, I guess I should do the cast first. Let me
do the cast.
first, and then I'll get
because there are some interesting cast members.
There are some interesting cast members. So, all right. So Batman Bruce Wayne is going to be played by Hamish Linklater.
Yes.
He's known for a lot more other things than what I've seen him in.
Right.
Yes. Is the two things I'm most familiar with Hamish Linklater are Legion on FX.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I think he came in second season. I don't remember if he was there first season. I can't remember.
He's in first season because I only saw season 1. But
okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he is there. And then Midnight Mass, on Netflix, one of the Mike Flanagan horror shows that he does every October. Hamish Linklater is the star of Midnight Mass. Midnight Mass is fantastic. I love Midnight Mass.
Okay.
And he is excellent in it.
I remember I was like watching Legion. I was like, who is this guy? This guy's got presence.
Yeah.
he's really, but I knew him also from The Big Short.
Okay.
He's one of the guys in Steve Carell's crew with the guy from Succession.
Okay.
Jeremy Strong.
I didn't realize at the time, but as I went to look, I was like, "Oh, that guy." What I know him from is he was Julia Louis. He was on the New Adventures of Old Christine. He played Julia Louis Dreyfus's brother, but I didn't realize it.
That's right.
I didn't put it together at the time. I was like, "Oh, that's where I know." I mean, I know him from Legion, but I didn't realize. Oh, that's where I knew him from before that was there. So
yes. So he's our Batman. For this. Catwoman is going to be played by Christina Ricci.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
Harley Quinn is going to be played by Jamie Chung.
Okay, I like her.
Yeah,
I like her too. And Harvey Dent, sorry, not Bullock. Yes. Harvey Dent, Two-Face, is going to be played by Dietrich Bader.
Batman?
Yeah.
A former Batman.
Yes.
A brave and the bold Batman.
Which was a funny thing because Tucker talked about that and he was like, it took me a minute because like he was my Batman.
Right.
He's like, it took me a minute to like, that's all I heard him as for a while, but at first, but it was like, but no, he's incredible as Harvey.
Mm-hmm.
But it is funny if you do like to consider, Harvey and Bruce as two sides of a coin.
Right.
It does fit. It does fit.
Sure. No,
he was a Bruce. He can be a Harvey.
It works.
It's a good point.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So, but then the list at the end of that trailer: Penguin, Catwoman, Clayface, Harley, Firebug, Natalia Knight, Two-Face, and Gentleman Ghost.
All right. So Natalia Knight, I'm not familiar with.
And she's not shown in the trailer as far as I know.
Okay.
Either.
What's her deal?
What is her deal? She's the one I'm a little fuzzy on.
Okay.
Oh, she's Nocturna.
Okay. I thought so.
That's what I thought so too. I was like, that sounds familiar. Yeah, Nocturna is like a femme fatale they introduced during like when Gene Colan was on the Batman books. Okay. It's around the time when they first did. Yeah, early 80s-ish.
Okay.
They introduced Croc around that time. It's like the first appearance of Jason Todd's around that time. She also briefly, like, I think she's, if I remember correctly, she's like a jewel thief, and she briefly adopts Jason Todd.
Okay.
Yeah, but more likely, they're just going to play her as, again, a character that's been untapped. Well, she might have been in Batwoman. I thought there was talk that she was in the live action.
Oh, I can't remember.
But
maybe
she was somebody that Tim wanted to use for a little while. I'm pretty sure. Thinking back to like the modern Masters interviews and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I didn't know her by that name. I just figured when I saw it, I'm like, is that a Nocturna thing? So okay, so that's great. But but they do show Onomatopoeia in the trailer,
right.
And he's not listed on that.
All right,
yeah,
a much more recent creation,
and he's a Green Arrow bad guy.
Okay,
created by Kevin Smith and Phil Hester.
Yeah.
And his deal is you know, he's all black. He's the guy in the trailer. It's got kind of like the bullseye on his face.
Yeah,
Yep.
the spiral
kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, and his thing, he's kind of Batmanish too. You know, he's like he's really really smart. He's like, you know, super fit athlete, can do a ton of stuff. Good fighter, marksman. He carries around 2 guns, and so he's got kind of like a Deadshot thing going.
Kind of, but he's also got the thing of. Well, that's the reason why he says "bang" when he points the gun at it. That's his whole shtick. Also, is like, you know, like the cover. If I remember the cover with Phil Hester from the Kevin Smith run, it's what I mean. It might be his first appearance, or he might have appeared like right before. But the first cover issue with him is breaking an arrow in half and going snap.
Right. Okay.
So a lot of his shtick is basically, you know, just having the making the noise of whatever he's doing.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's an interesting choice, especially for the time. I was like, that was really cool when I saw that.
Yeah.
You know, it was a choice that I didn't expect for this animated. So
all right. What is, real quick before we close, what is the thing you are currently most excited about to see in the show that you know or think is coming?
I've got an answer for this. For me, it is the idea of the Iceberg Lounge being in international waters. I think that's phenomenal. Okay. I don't know why it's never been a thing that everyone's thought of before, but it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
When I saw that, and I was like, I had to run it back and be like, wait a minute, that is the Iceberg Lounge.
Yeah, it's quick.
It's so great, though. The idea is such a chef's kiss. It's so good that again, I'm stunned. No one has ever thought of it before.
Yeah.
Because I'm not Penguin's not my favorite Batman villain, but if he's done right, so good.
His time is coming.
Yeah. So
I called it. I said Penguin's time is coming. I knew it. I mean, he's got juice.
Right. Well, that I love that, and the idea of the fact of, as Tommy would say about trailers and stuff, I love the fact of what they're showing us, but what they're not showing us is important too. Mm-hmm. Because there are absences from the Rogues Gallery that are pretty big, right?
Yeah.
And I'm glad. I'm fine that we're not getting a huge focus on a certain clown face.
I agree.
Individual. But yeah, for me, it's solidly the idea of what the Iceberg Lounge is going to be in that show.
Yeah. I'll do so. Just going off your point about Joker not really being a factor. Mm-hmm. Interesting that Harley's showing up first with like no connection to him.
Right.
At all, I think. And we didn't get a chance to touch on Harley, but Harley sounds to be like a radical departure what we know of what we come to know about that character. And that's really exciting. I think that's cool. But I'm digging the fact that the Two-Face design is really like muted.
It's kind of minimalist.
It's much more grounded.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Maybe the most grounded we've seen, where he's not doing the two-sided suit. It's all one color. You know, his face is not like green or red, or it's just
purple or yeah.
I'm digging that. Like Harvey. I'm getting excited for.
Okay.
What about you?
For me, I mean, it's some of the villains, but some of them I like that they're going with a kind of 30s aesthetic, or 40s. So I should say 40s aesthetic, but like Gentleman Ghost, we haven't seen much. I was like, it kind of feels like an old monster-ish movie kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think it's going to be fun to see. We haven't seen really much. Probably in Brave and the Bold, I imagine. I don't remember for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Probably, yeah.
But my question, again, with that, the question I have about that is are we going supernatural?
Right, yeah, that's my question too. I'm like, in some of the show, like in some of the trailer, it looks like maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
Right.
Because they did always shy away from that in animated series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, they touch it a little bit, but
towards the end when you start to introduce like the fact that Superman exists within the same world, and the demon exists, it's kind of like, okay, well, we kind of throw our arms, our arms a little more wide open to the idea of like, there's mysticism and magic and all that other stuff. So, but yeah, that was my question, and I love the Gentleman Ghost. I think he's a great character. We don't see enough of. But yeah, that was my biggest question: was is it gonna be, are we gonna play it as if it's like Scooby Doo?
Yeah,
you know what just hit me? It did not occur to me till just now. Gentleman Ghost is never in the animated series, but he was in the original Pitch Bible.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll see if I can find that a still of that, because I know the pitch Bible's online. You guys can find it. It's really, really cool.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll see if I can find the Gentleman Ghost entry on it, because yeah, it did not occur to me until you just said so, Clifton.
Nice.
All right, so that's what we're looking forward to most in Batman Caped Crusader, which is set to hit Amazon Prime on August 1st. And we believe it will be a all episodes at once situation on Amazon Prime. So definitely looking forward to that. Hit us up on social media and let us know what you think about the trailer, what your thoughts are on the show, what you're looking forward to seeing in Batman Caped Crusader. You can check out all of our past episodes at letmeknowhowitis.com, as well as anywhere you find podcasts. Just please, if you enjoy the show and feel so inclined, give us a like or follow and leave a review. It really helps us out. Finally, if you would like to suggest a topic, send it our way by email at info@letmeknowhowitis.com. We'd love to hear from you. And as always, thanks for listening.